Thank you all for joining in for the Unity Community Day. We'll just get started in a few minutes. And let the folks come and settle down and we'll get going. Thank you all for taking the time Sunday afternoon to be here.
So now I'm looking at
Hello, 1, 2, 3, mic test. Mic test, 1, 2, 3. Hello, mic test. Mic test, 1, 2, 3. Okay, are we good? Are we good? Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we are good.
Well, if you flip the mic, you get a lot of sound, right? Do on that, it's coming up.
Put it on full hum.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just keep this as a right.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna bring it closer. It's just gonna be them singing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And then we're speaking. I'll zoom in.
everybody. I want to welcome you to this event. It's my great honor and pleasure to introduce Rishi, my good friend. Rishi actually works full-time in the Silicon Valley, and providing an introduction to him. And he also happens to be our council member representing Saratoga. He is a senior executive during the day and a social worker during weekends and nights. That's how I got to meet him and got to participate in all of the events he organizes here. Community service is his passion. As Saratoga's community organizer, Rishi is host of many community events in Saratoga, many of which are free and always inclusive, usually addressing a need or a social cause. Community events that create learning, intermingling, opportunities for youth, health, wellness, spiritual living, such as documentary screening that promotes sustainable future, drought-tolerant vegetation seminar, Saratoga Got Talent annual competition, Diwali, Dandiya, along with, at this place where you are, free weekly classes such as meditation, yoga, coders club, Lego robotics club, and such, one that I was organizing before, and ones that we all attend here, including myself, meditation and such. Rishi seeks to provide services to all citizens of Saratoga cheaper, faster, and better. Community outreach and progressive engagement is a focus for him as a community leader. Please welcome Rishi.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for running the previous session, the Silicon Valley Coders Club. You do a phenomenal job. It's always good to have your friendship. Hello everyone. How's everyone doing? Good. Thank you all for joining us today and spending your Sunday afternoon with us. The first ever Silicon Valley Unity and Community Day. And when we first talked about doing this, we were trying to figure out a time slot, a day to run this event. And appropriately, we have picked the Martin Luther King weekend, right? I think the theme that we have for this event will resonate with Martin Luther King if he was here today. So thank you all for joining in. So, very quickly, I'd like to talk a little bit about my background. When I grew up in a big city back in India, Mumbai, I grew up in a big city, and I went to a Jesuit school. And India for the most part is fairly secular, and it was always kind of let the world be, let the world live and let live. That was the sort of the mantra that we actually operated under. And while going to the Jesuit school, I would actually go into the church that was right next door to us. So it was a fairly sort of a liberal outlook to religion that we had. And we did have many pockets of Muslim community who lived back in Mumbai. And for the most part, it was a lot of active collaboration. I went to school, we had Muslims in our school, we had Christians who were in our school. And we all were friends. We all had a fabulous time playing cricket or doing whatever else we did back in those days. So it was a fabulous environment to grow up in. And when I look at America, basically, it's, for the most part, I think it's pretty amazing to see all the disparate cultures that have come in over the last 100 years and that have functioned so very well together. It's a stellar place. Diversity is honored and respected here, and for the most part, it's pretty good. And there's one thing though, when I see the hallmark of success for a thriving society, it's basically religious tolerance. That's a huge component of making America what it is today. And when we see a little murmuring, especially I think after 9/11, we see a little bit of a shift that is kind of going on. And as a result of experiences that we Americans are going through, there is a shift happening. When that is happening, I think we've got to step up and we've got to act upon it so that we don't get steered into the wrong direction, into the inappropriate direction. But we are all collaborating towards the goodness of this country. So based upon all this, there are specific themes that we arrived at today. And we talk about convergence, the theme of convergence. And this convergence is about, we might have different faiths, but when we go back to the origin of mankind, we all started from the same place. And we all end up at the same place. There is not a whole lot of difference. So all these faiths, they might have a different way of communicating those messages, but it is pretty much converging. When you look at, the intentions are always poor. Then we talk about standing up, and Martin Luther King comes to mind. He stood up. He stood up for what was fair, what was just, and that's where we are willing to stand up. We should have the willingness to stand up for what is right, to avoid when we see bigotry, bias, partial attitudes and behavior. It's the time to exert our own thought process into that, and ensuring that it doesn't happen. And the third component of our theme today is basically we are all equally invested. We are all equally invested in the future of Silicon Valley, in the future of America, in the future of our local communities. We are all lending our energies, our collective energies are going into making America great for what it is. And we need to be cognizant of that. It's not about you and me. We are all collectively in this together, working towards the good. So let me give you a few examples of these themes, and I'll make this really quick. And I'll go back in time. I'll go back in time, and I'm going to go back to the year 1893. 1893, and there was a very young lawyer in South Africa, who was thrown off the train because he was actually sitting in a compartment that only white people were supposed to sit. And that was 1893. And that basically set this young lawyer to the path of truth. He called it Satyagraha. And that was Mahatma Gandhi. And that was, basically, it was a defining moment in his life. And I still remember reading about it in the history books and seeing Mahatma Gandhi sprawl on the platform of the train station. And that kind of resonated with me, that this man, he decided to make that a pursuit of his whole life, when he went through that. And it's a learning moment it was a learning moment for me, and potentially a lot of other people. And I have to say this, that Mahatma Gandhi's Satyagraha became the actual movement of Martin Luther King in terms of many of his activism that he adopted, the policies and procedures and the framework was stemming from Satyagraha, right? I think he adopted many of that. 1929, we move forward to 1929. A young 19-year-old woman arrived from Macedonia to Darjeeling, which is the foothills of the Himalayas in India. And she had a calling. As she got there a few years later in 1948, she had a calling where she realized that she had to work with the poor and the downtrodden to make sure that they have a better life. And that was Mother Teresa. She cut through the boundaries of faith, of religious organizations, groups, and she said, I'm going to dedicate my life to doing good, to helping. And that's Mother Teresa. In 1955, we had, in Montgomery, Alabama, we had a woman who wanted to have a seat on a bus, and she was basically asked to get up, and she did not like that. That was Rosa Parks, 1955. And that also became the platform for Martin Luther King to go out and see how change could happen in the country. And Martin Luther King basically was teamed up with Rosa Parks as they went out with the effort. In 1965, you may have seen the movie Selma. The march across the bridge that happened in 1965 in Dallas County, Alabama, in Selma, that led to a very interesting political reform in the country. Small steps can lead into real amazing results. The march to Selma was a simple act against the inability to vote, and it culminated in the Voting Rights Act. If you have seen the movie Selma, it's very gripping. But these are very simple steps that people have taken that led into some incredible momentum and good things happening. And it's not easy because now the Justice Department has served notice to at least 12 states where the Voting Act of 1967 has been violated blatantly because that expired in 2030 and new sets of regulations and policies are being created by different states. And we have to watch out because voting, like you and I voted because of the Voting Rights Act that was created in the 60s, late 60s. And we have to kind of protect that because that's how we as citizens can function in a fairly cohesive manner to apply our philosophies, our principles onto America. And we all might come from different directions, different perspectives. but it's a collaborative effort of making that change happen in a positive direction. And if the right to vote is taken away from us, that can impact us very adversely. So the fight still continues, because intolerance can rear its ugly head, and we have to be alert and voice our thoughts and concerns. That is very important. So more recent times, back in 2013, a couple years back, right around this time, we had a visiting grandfather from India who was handicapped in his communication. He did not speak English. And he was there to help out his grandson, who was recently coming into the family for his son, visiting his son. And he was actually brutally beaten up in Alabama because he was walking around in a neighborhood and nobody knew what he was doing there. And that was very sad. And recently, in fact, the former police officer was acquitted, because basically there was no charges found against the former police officer. So, and what we did in this community when that happened was, we basically connected our sheriff's office with our senior center. We have an Anandan group, an Indian Anandan group that meets every Thursday. And we said we need to have a collaborative dialogue so that we understand each other. You know, we took that simple step just to understand, create a common understanding between our law enforcement and our Indian community center. The California Sikh bus driver in Southern California who was wearing a turban, this was in late 2015. He was brutally beaten up because he was declared to be a terrorist by somebody sitting in the bus. This happened in Southern California. And then on New Year's Day, Fresno, I believe it was Fresno, yes, Fresno, a Sikh gentleman was stabbed to death. And it was just a hateful crime. So we still have incidences like that happening in this country, all over. California, for the most part, is pretty liberal, and if we have things happening here, you know, what happens to the rest of the country? I do have a couple more examples. Hazardous material team investigated potential anthrax at the Center for American Islamic Relations at the Santa Clara, in Santa Clara, California. They are at Scotts Avenue in Santa Clara. And the same thing happened in the CARE office in Washington, D.C. A citizen of our community from Saratoga, a practicing dentist, and she was actually, when she was traveling, TSA basically asked her, do you have a bomb under your clothes? A practicing dentist from our community. And how can anyone categorize respectable members of our community like that, or from any community for that matter, or for that matter, anyone, right? What is the basis to make that statement? Right? So those are kind of issues going on, and my take is very simple. Let us build bridges and break any shackles of division. So somebody had posted this on Facebook. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So if we don't speak up now, what are the chances that this will snowball into something, a movement, a very negative movement of sorts that will impact each and every one of us? So that's something that we need to watch out for. So with that, I would like to invite our religious leaders for the afternoon to come in and talk on these three themes, or perhaps over anything else that they would like to speak about. So I would like to invite Sriram Paidya, who is representing the Saratoga Hindu Temple. And I would like to invite Pandit Jayesh Khona. And Pandit Jayesh Khona, he is representing the Center of Northern California. I would like to invite Bhai Sahib Satpal Singh Khalsa. He's from the Guru Ramdas Sikh Mission of America. And then I would like to invite Imam Tahir Anwar of the West Valley Muslim Association. And we also had invitations for Kevin Cole, who's the Bishop of the Saratoga Ward of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but he was unable to join us in the last minute. And what I'll do is I'll run through a quick introduction of our folks here. I'll start with Imam Tahir Anwar. He's been a resident of San Jose since he was 5 years old. He currently serves as a scholar in residence for the Muslim Community Center of East Bay in Pleasanton, California. He teaches Islamic law at the renowned Zaytuna College America's first Muslim liberal arts college in Berkeley. He's currently the chair for the board of NISA, North American Islamic Shelter for the Abused. He also sits on the executive committee for Islamic Society of North America, the country's largest Muslim umbrella organization. Big round of applause for our. And next up we have, I'm going to introduce Sriram. So Sriram is a philanthropist, businessman, and he's a dedicated Hindu that learned Vedic principles, including astrology, from multiple gurus. And he and his family, they built a Shiva temple near Kakinada, Andhra Pradesh. And he was one of the principal instruments in establishing the Mahakaleshwar temple in Santa Clara. So they also founded the Abhayam Foundation in 2008, which is a philanthropic organization that empowers more than 1,000 underprivileged villagers everywhere by providing free vocational classes and placements. Sriram owns a healthcare technology and services company. A big round of applause for Sriram. Okay, and then we have Bhai Sahib Satpal Singh Khalsa. He was appointed as the chief religious and spiritual authority of Sikh religion in Western Hemisphere. He was bestowed the title of Bhai Sahib and appointed ambassador of Sikh religion in 2005. Bhai Sahib is the chair of the Sikh Dharma USA and an international peace advocate. He's a teacher of Kundalini Yoga and is involved in spreading yoga around the world. Bhai Sahib Satpal has been involved in spreading and promoting the teachings of Yogi Bhajan and Sikh religion. And that leaves me with Pandit Jayesh Khona from the Jain Center of Northern California. And I will let him introduce himself. So, a big round of applause for Pandit Khona. So, there are themes for our talk, so we'll just go around, we'll pass the microphone, and we'll have each of them address you for a few minutes. And potentially we can do some Q&A, and also what we would like to invite, we have Marilyn Libres from the city of Morgan Hill. She's a council member there, and we would love to invite her to speak as well, along with a few other elected leaders who are in the House. And we would also like to invite Mohammed Nadeem to come up here, and a few other folks. So we'll get to that as we run through this. So with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to Sriram.
Thank you, Rishi. I think it's a great goal and objective, and without question, I agree 100% with Rishi that we have to bring the community together, because these differences really are so superficial, and all of us in the bottom, I think, are human souls that need to be united together. Again, my brothers and sisters and fellow souls, and that's my favorite term to talk to any of our people here. I just start with a small prayer, and I think then I'll pick up some of the things that some of our great leaders and philosophers have said in Hinduism as an example of principles that we need to follow, or examples that we need to follow. It's Gananam Dva Ganapatikam Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamastravastavam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspada Anushunvanhu Devisida Sadhanam Om Shri Mahaganadivadaye Namaha. So this is invoking one of the lords, or in Hinduism called Mahaganapati. He's supposed to be the one that removes obstacles, that gives us the knowledge and the wisdom to lead us in the right direction. So I pretty much call on his energy to lead us in the right direction at this point. The first line that I started with, I said brothers and sisters, and then I said fellow souls, that I kind of stole from one of the famous leaders of India, Swami Vivekananda. And if any of you know, he was in 1893. He was at the Parliament of Religions at Chicago as one of the first representatives of Hinduism. He had come, and he was very nervous even to address the people that was there. But the profound understanding of the existence that he had within him was so strong. I think, he set an example to the whole process of how the human beings are all connected. In fact, there's a small short story in Swami Vivekananda's speech that he refers to. He says, the reason why we all of us disagree, he gives an example of a story where he says, there was this frog that used to live in a small well. And, it thought the world was nothing but the well itself. So, it had a small, he thought it was the deepest thing that it could ever get to. And he thought that was the parameters, that were the boundaries of that well. All of a sudden, a frog from a big sea comes in and, happens to fall in the well, and then has a communication or has a conversation with this other frog. And it starts explaining, man, this place is so small and so restricted, to the point where, it's like claustrophobic to me. The other frog who was living in the well his entire life, thinking that that was the world and there was nothing beyond it, doesn't believe it even for a second. He says, you're talking nonsense. You're just trying to create this fiction around it. Right? And he eventually gets into such an argument in the fight that he drives the frog from the sea outside of the well, saying that you have no idea what you're talking about, it's all fiction. So Swami Vivekananda says, this is the same way each one of us is. We are like the frogs in the well who are stuck in our Hinduism or Islam or Christianity. For us to go and understand the broader perspective of the human souls and of all the people around has become so difficult. But it's time to rise above the so-called lowest of the thresholds or tunnel vision and to understand that all of us are created from the same material to start with. And the so-called dressing of the religion happens after we are born. Right? And there was one circulating in the Facebook recently that I really loved. And a small kid, actually, it was, I think, the Best of India, there was some kind of a talent show. And a kid, barely at about 9 years old, was performing, and she was an Islamic kid, a Muslim kid, and she was, of course, surrounded by Hinduism. But she, as a part of the performance, she said, at 9 years of age, her understanding that she said, all of us are fellow souls, and I'm going to create this music for all of us because we're all together on it. And then she explains to say that her father had taught her that when she was born, she was not a Hindu, she was not a Muslim, she was not a Christian, but only after he taught her what it was to be an Islam or Muslim, she became a Muslim. And she says, so the truth of the matter is, when we were born, none of us had any religion to us. It is just something that we practice as a part of our existence for our own elevation part. A couple of other things I just want to not take too much time, but there was even in the speech that Swami Vivekananda gives, there's a famous quote from the Bhagavad Gita. It's on chapter 4 and verse 11, which comes from the chapters called Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. What it means is, anything that we do can be understood much better with jnana, or the knowledge, or the illumination. And he says, once you start understanding the karmic existence in this world through knowledge, it eventually leads you through sannyasa yoga, or a detachment from the material existence and differences in the world. And I thought I should just read this quickly, and I'll explain it to you. It's so profound in it, that profound the meaning to it. Ye yatamam prapadyante tanstataiva vajamyaham mama vartamanu vartante manushyaha partha sarvasaha. Essentially it means, in whichever way I'm prayed to, in their own fashion, I respond back to them in the same way. So whether you pray to me and call me, Vishnu, or you pray to me and call me Mahavir, it doesn't matter what you call me in the end, I'll come back to you and take care of it in the same fashion. And he also go on to say in the second line, he says, all these paths that people think that they've created for themselves are all created by me. So at the end, all of them are marching towards me, but in different paths, all leading to me at the end of it. So that was, I thought, was a beautiful quotation of God having a conversation on the physical plane and the physical existence itself. Yesterday, I was with a yogi called Swami Lakshmanacharya. He had come to the temple, and he was talking and having a discussion with us. And this particular gentleman, he was born into a certain Peetam, or the 13th century established Peetam, which in Indian terms is a system of Vedic culture or a certain discipline or regimen that they adopt. And this is from a Ramanujacharya Peetham of the 13th century. And right at the age of 5, he was inducted into practicing something called Devi Upasana, it's a practicing of the law, a goddess Devi. While he was practicing and becoming the Peethadipati of the center, he also became a surgeon. He was a gynecologist and an MD. And he became an Ayurvedic medicinist. But at the end, after practicing medicine and practicing Vedanta and Vedic knowledge, he decided to leave the society for 12 years and went into severe penance of tapas. So he had gone into the Himalayan forest for about 9 years and then into one of the forests in South India for about 3 years. And he was telling us how when he was in the forest, totally detached from society, he had been watching the monkeys to see what they eat so that he could decide what he had to eat that day. Because he had no idea in the forest what's available, what's poisonous, what he should not be eating. So as a part of the practice, he would watch the monkeys, see what leaves they ate, what berries they ate, and he'd follow them to see where the water is so that he could go drink the water from that small puddle that existed. But as a matter of fact, as a part of that process, he was talking to us about how he has done self-realization or seeing the soul within himself. The whole practice, he said, was all of us, are so carried away by the material existence and the drama that goes around us. So he was trying to figure out where did we come from? What is the mother source for all our existence? And he asked us one question as part of this stuff. And he said, all of we talk about each one of us having a soul. And do you know where your soul is located, he asked us. And all of us closed our eyes for a minute, and one person said, it's in my heart. Somebody said, no, it's in my brain. Somebody said, it's in my arm. Somebody said, no. The answer is all within. He said at the end of the whole conversation, you talk about having a soul all the time, and you don't even know where your soul is, and you don't even not even focused on sitting down and realizing your soul, and now you want to learn spirituality. So he left us a little confused at the end of the conversation. He said, I'm going to teach you what it takes to connect with your soul. But I'm not going to give it to you today, because if I give it to you today, very likely you're just going to be in disbelief, because I want you to sit down and think about it. He says, close your eyes, feel yourself within the body. He says, feel your soul within the body to figure out where it is. And he was there. We had everybody. We had people from Christianity there in the temple yesterday. They'd come because I had, we had broadcasts about the temple. And he had gone out, and we had people from all faiths. In fact, he's a traveler. He travels, and he actually goes to mosques and teaches them how to do the yogic principles of connecting with the soul itself. But bottom line, I think, is we spend so much time with the drama and the material things outside, we forget who we are and where we came from. And I think he's also opening a free yogic center where he wants to teach people how to connect with the basic pure material that one came from. Right? So, having said that again, what I was trying to say is all of us are from the same parent material, and all these differences are like wearing a different colored jacket on top of ourselves. And it's foolish to fight over why are you wearing a blue jacket and a black jacket, and why are you having a brown hair or a dark hair. It's such stupidity. I think at the end of it, it's the experience of whatever we wear and what we enjoy that we need to let everybody enjoy themselves at the end of it. Well, I think I've taken enough time to try and close it. It's a small peace prayer from Mahatma Gandhi that I want to read out, with the questions that are left in your mind and the need for us all to work together. This is written by Mahatma Gandhi. It says, I offer you peace, I offer you love, I offer you friendship. I see your beauty, I hear your need, I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from the highest source. I salute the source in all of you. Let us work together for unity and love, and let's make this place, the world, a beautiful place for us to live in. Yeah. And finally, this conclusion, Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu, which means let everybody in the world be happy and in peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up is Pandit Jayesh Kona, and I checked my email, and we actually have his bio. I'm just going to try to do justice, read up from the bio as much as I can. So Pandit Kona, he's a Jain scholar, and his core competencies include Paryushan, Parva Aradhana, Asthanika, and Sri Kalpa Sutra Vanchan and lectures. And he is also well versed with Jain Vidhi, Vidhan, Pujan, Pratishtha. And he's also very involved with the Jain Center here locally. And learned scholar in a mix. And he's been a Jain educator since 1992. And he also conducts weddings. He gives talk on Jain Dharma and well versed with the Jain Vidhi Vidhan. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Pandit to continue.
Thank you, Rishiji. Hello, dear brothers and sisters, and respected all of the dignitaries. As I'm honored to be here today, representing Jain Dharma, the temple is located in Milpitas, South Main Street, Jain Center of Northern California. You must have heard about this religion several times in your life. I born in this religion. I practice this religion daily in my life, day to day. What this religion taught me in my life, it's a very core values, the principles of it is non-violence. When I heard that word initially when I was growing up, not to kill anyone, not to hurt anyone, don't say anything like that. But when I start knowing more about it, when I start reading about it, it says, don't even thinking about hurting anyone. It should start from the thought process. And when you're talking to someone, you should not have a violent word, not to hurt anyone with your words. And then it comes to the third level, it's action. So that's what the third level comes. So practicing non-violence is with your thoughts, verbal, and action. This is one of the fundamental, a core value of Jain Dharma. I've been learning that from the beginning of my life, and still I'm learning also, and trying to practice. The second thing is that there are 5 more values to this religion. If you look at this religion, it's a way of life. Respect each and every soul in this planet. Don't look at it whether it's 1 cent, 2 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents, or 5 cents. No matter what sense it is. Every soul has right to live the way they want to live. As if somebody tried to tell us something, with the words, somebody tried to teach us something. We learned something from that. So there was a small story I would like to, because today in 21st century, we are so much fast running, kind of running around, and we don't know what it is, what we want to achieve actually. If somebody asks you something, what's your goal of your life? What's the goal of 2016? You will say, XYZ, I want to finish my education, I want to be here, and I want to be there. One, you need to understand is that what you're running behind, it's kind of a material thing. But actual, you need to understand what the core value inside you. This religion teaches that aparigraha, that's another one of the principles that stay away from materialist life. What you have, be happy with that. Recently I read an article with one of the, you must have known, there was a lotto 2-3 days ago, am I correct? Have you heard about that lotto winner? Okay. Yeah, the guy from Tennessee, he was a warehouse manager. If you read the article, what he wrote, he said, what I have, I'm going to be like that. There won't be any change in my thinking process. I will be living in an apartment no matter what. So the point is that what I learned from that, this is what it is. What we have to be happy with that. What we are looking outside, okay, having all these material things, we find ourselves, we are going to be happy. But trust me, do you think really you're going to be happy? It's not. So this religion, what it says that what you have, just be happy with that. That's called aparigraha. Don't try to, accumulate things which is going to make you one day unhappy. So that's the second principles of the Jain Dharma, what we practice. And third one, it's very important, this prayer, it says in that, I'm going to sing this prayer, and then I'm going to explain that. Kame sab jive, sabve jiva, kamantu me, miti me, sabva bhuvesu, veram majjanakinai. In this prayer, it says, in this entire world, every individual is my friend. Nobody is my enemy. I'm not going to find somebody, I'm not going to judge anybody by the action. Because if somebody judges me, I'm not going to be happy. Who gave me the right to judge somebody else? And last and overall, whenever you find any living being, try to be friend with everyone. That's this prayer's core meaning behind it. So this religion has so many depths, and you will see Martin Luther King believed in non-violence. He got that message from Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi got that message because his parents were, one of the parents was Jain. So trying to practice, and Jain is a religion which is not kind of influence that you can adopt, like, you'll be forced to practice that. Anybody is welcome to practice, it's the way of life. Nobody can force you that you have to be Jain to practice this. So this is another thing about the religion, which equalizes everyone. And at last, it says, Anikantavad, the multiple viewpoint accepted. If I present in front of you a glass with the empty, half empty, what are you going to say? Is it half full, half empty? There is the water, there is the emptiness. But everybody's right. You must have heard about this story, the elephant with the 7 blind. The 7 blind and the elephant, okay? The one of the blind was holding a trunk and he thought about something else. He said, this is what it is. Somebody was holding the ears. He thought about something else. So this religion says, whoever comes in your life, whoever comes with any kind of message, accept it, because their viewpoint, you can't say your viewpoint is right. That's Anikantvad. The JD teaches that and tell us to practice that. Don't judge anybody what they say. Try to learn what they have. And other thing, finally, what I see recently, there was a YouTube movie, I saw it, in Andhra Pradesh in India. There was this monkey. You must have seen the electric pole, like, on the electric train, they have a pole, the wire. So one of the monkey was sitting on it, and by mistake, he got kind of a shock, he fell. And he was in the water. Second monkey saw that, and he's trying to shake him. All the men, everybody's standing there, but this, what we thought, the monkey is already dead. But the other monkey is not letting him go. He will just keep on shaking and punch, what we call as, like, when we call 911. If somebody is not able to breathe, what we do? CPR. Yeah, CPR. Am I correct? Because I'm not a doctor, so I can't say that word, but yeah, CPR. So same thing, what the other monkey was doing it. He didn't let go till that other monkey comes back to life. And when I saw that video, it touches me. That if same thing, if you bring it in our life, that when we see somebody's hurt, somebody's, we should practice that. So this is what the few things I want to present in front of you. And I'm really happy that if you have any questions about this religion, I'll be more than happy to present it. Thank you so much.
Venerable religious leaders, Honorable Council Member Rishi Kumar, Divine Souls. It is truly a pleasure to be here with you today. And I'm really happy that Council Member Rishi Kumar has organized this unity event, unity in community event. I believe we need many more of these in this state, in this country, all over. I was born in a Sikh family in India. I did my school and my college in India and came to this country when I was 21 years old. I went to a Catholic school because the best schools in India are run by Catholic nuns. And later on, I went to a Catholic college in New Delhi, St. Stephen's College, and I graduated from there. In our college, it was mandatory for all students to attend church, Christian church prayer every day for half an hour. I was one of the 2 Sikhs in that college in that first year. Later on, there were 3 others. It gave me an opportunity to learn about the Bible and about Catholicism. Of course, I had many friends in India. As you know, 4 of the major religions were born in India. I had Hindu friends, of course, I had Muslim friends, I had Christian friends, Zoroastrian, Jains, and also Buddhist friends. So, growing up in India as a child, as a student, I was intrigued by the other religions. So I visited with my friends to all of their temples. I went to a mosque, I went to a Hindu temple, I went to a church, I went to a Jain Parsi. So that gave me a lot of experience about many different religions at that time in India. When I came to the United States, I got involved in New Mexico with some business and some other family life. I studied Native American. I also go to a lot of interfaith, interreligious conferences just like this one, and that gave me an opportunity to study many other religions that were left out: Taoism, Mohism, legalism, Confucianism, and many others. It is my belief, and this is my perspective, after learning about so many different religions, I firmly believe that there is an underlying unity among all religions. On the surface, they may look different. Of course they are different. There are different claims from many different religions, how we came, what our purpose of life is, and where we're going to go from here. Many claim there is one God, some say there are multiple gods, some say there are no gods, some say they are God. But when you scratch under the surface, you will find, and when you truly understand a religion, and when you look at the lives of the yogis, the mystics, the imams, the rabbis, the bishops, the Jains, Zoroastrian, all of these learned, the lamas, you will find that they agree that these are all paths to the same divine Lord. We arrive at the same place, no matter which path we take. It's kind of an analogy of climbing a mountain. Now there are many different ways to get to the summit. You can go the north way, the east way, the rocky way, the snowy way. But once you get up there, you realize that everybody has gathered at the same place. They may have taken different paths, but they arrive at the same destination. Of course, if you talk to them, or if they could talk to them, they would all tell you the way up to the mountain is a different path, and they will describe it differently. And friends, let me tell you, when you get to the summit, when you get to the top of the mountain, the view of the sun, the moon, and the stars is the same for everyone. So fundamentally, the unity among religion is a must in today's day and age. I don't need to tell you that the anti-Muslim and thereby anti-Sikh, because we look like Muslims, so we are also taking the brunt of that anti-Islam, anti-Muslim hate in this country and in the Western countries. There is but one God. Our Sikh religion says Guru Nanak came at the time of a major turmoil in India. 1469 he was born. And in our holy scripture, which is called the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, it is one of the most universal, open religions or holy scriptures among all other holy texts. We have 5 Muslim saints whose teachings are incorporated into our Guru Granth Sahib. We have 18 Hindu saints whose teachings are incorporated, and we bow to them every day. From the 10 living gurus, 6 of them have contributed towards the holy texture of the Sikhs. And there are 11 musicians, ballads, bhagats, and other saints whose teachings are also incorporated into the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. Kabir ji, a Muslim saint, said, "Avvale Allah noor paya, kudrat ke sab bande, ek noor te sab jab upjyo, kaun bhale kaun mande." Allah first created the light. From that light, He created creation. From the creation, the immortal human beings were born. Who is to say who is right and who is wrong? So there is no right, there is no wrong. These are all different paths shown to us by different masters, founders, prophets, imams, Hindu saints, rishis, munis, swamis, shown to us to connect to the divine path. Now, anti-Islam, anti-Muslim hatred that's going around in this country is nothing new, folks. If you look at the history of the United States, 240 years old, in the late 20th century, there was an anti-sentiment against the Jews that were migrating to this country from Eastern Europe. So much so that many of the Ivy League colleges like Cornell, Yale, Harvard, Stanford had issued quotas. There were quotas issued that so many Jews can be admitted to the university. Not only that, the press would label the Jews as somebody foreign, somebody that had come here to infect the American society. So that is what America endured. In the late 19th century, there was an anti-Catholic movement in this country. Catholicism was not invited. In fact, many of the political parties ran their presidents based upon keeping the Catholics out of America. The Lower Manhattan St. Peter's Church, which was built in the early 1800s, saw a violent demonstration outside. In 1806, it was opened. There was a group of Protestants that got outside and were decrying the rituals going inside. They said these are satanic rituals. By that they meant Christmas Mass, and that Catholics should not be invited in this country. So the anti-Muslim now, fast forward to 2015 today, and fast forward to 2001 when this country saw the tragedy of 9/11. Even the anti-Muslim sentiments was not all-time high what it is today. If you look back, what happened in 9/11, it was terrible tragedy. We Americans, we lost a lot of people in there, and there was a lot of anti-Muslim sentiment around that time. But if you fast forward it to 2015, you will find out that it is at all-time high. 70% of Americans feel, and since we did a lot of polls, we are trying to come up with PR and educating not only who we are, but who our Muslim brothers are and other Hindu brothers are. Like Rishi mentioned in his opening remarks, the hate crime is not only against the Muslims or the Sikhs, it is also against Hindus and anybody that looks foreign, So the polls don't give a very pretty picture. 70% of Americans feel that they have anti-Muslim, thereby anti-Sikh and anti-Hindu sentiments in their hearts. Now, 50% of Americans feel that Muslims and us Sikhs should carry a separate ID card indicating that we are a Muslim or we are a Sikh. We need to change all of this. We have adopted this country as our country we may have been born overseas, our children have been born here. I have 2 daughters who go to school here. One is a doctor, graduated from Berkeley. I have another one who's a lawyer, and they call America their home. I call America my home. I am proud to be an American. I am proud to add to the diversity and to this country's whatever I can offer to this country. Today, if you look around, 1 in 3 doctors in America are Indians. Most of the major corporations, well, some of them now have Indian CEOs, like Google and like Microsoft, and there are many Muslim and many other Hindu persons of Indian origin that are heading these corporations. Over half of the workforce in these corporations are, believe it or not, Indian origin, Indian, Pakistani, and foreign. So we have to do something about how we can all stand up. The theme of today's event is how to stand up against this tyranny, against this hatred, against this racial discrimination, against racial profiling that we are all facing. The only way we can do that is knowledge and information is not enough. Education is important, knowledge is important, but that's not enough. What we need to do is we need to develop relationships. Wherever I go to my gurdwaras, I go to many interfaith events. What I ask my religious leaders and brothers and sisters to go develop relationship with the general Americans. And same thing, I appeal and I request my American citizens and my brothers and sisters that they have to have an open heart and embrace diversity. Because this country stands for unity, and there's unity in diversification, in diversity. You cannot just be, America as such does not really have any ethnic or any other important or any other relevant traditional or any other relevant faith that they believe in. Catholicism, I told you, Jews, I told you, Sikhs, Muslims, Hindus, all. So there we have to embrace university and diversity. This is a country made up of immigrants. This is a country of immigrants and for immigrants. So we need to develop these relationships. I appeal to all of you that wherever you are, whoever you are, invite some of your fellow Indians, fellow Americans to your faith, to your temple, to your homes, so that they can learn about you. Because just educating them or informing on the TV and the press is not enough. We need to develop a relationship. Also our polls, we have conducted several polls because we are coming out with a media campaign about educating and informing who we are. Some of our poll takers had also indicated to us that although 70% of Americans have an anti-Muslim or anti-Sikh hatred in their mind, if one of them, if they meet one Sikh family or one Muslim family, that percentage goes down to half. Instead of 70%, only 30%. So it is very important, it's imperative that all of us religious leaders get together, talk about relationships, developing community strength. Strength is in relationship. And I know my time is up. I was asked to speak for 5 to 8 minutes. So I welcome Council Member Rishi's innovation about this community event. And I hope there will be many more in this community. And I love to see all of you when I come back. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us this Sunday afternoon, which is very, very important, and I am making a great sacrifice being here with all of you because there's a very important football game going on. Not so important because the Niners are not in it, and so we can say a small prayer for the Niners when we finish today. We've been talking about coexistence, we've been talking about nonviolence. Are we different? Yes, we are. Okay, a lot of times we like to say we're all the same, we're all the same. Yes, as human beings, we're all the same and we're united. But are we different? Yes, we are. Have humans been different from the time the earth has been created? Yes, they have. Have they coexisted? Yes, they have. Have they coexisted with Muslims? Because I'm a representative of the Muslim faith today. Have they represented with Muslims? Well, let's look at our own history. Maybe you want to ask Coptic Christians in Egypt whether they were able to coexist with Muslims within a Muslim rule, and do they coexist? Historically speaking, we may even want to ask Jews whether they coexisted with Muslims for hundreds of years under Muslim rule. Is it possible? Yes, it is. Now, in case you haven't noticed, all 4 of us, or all 5 of us here, are Indians. Okay? All 5, my parents are from India too. And so, do our faiths and do our people coexist in India? I've lived a portion of my life in India during my formative years. And did I see coexistence? Yes, I did. But as it's been mentioned, and I'm not going to take a lot of your time, there is, believe it or not, there is a crisis of education. There is a crisis of education. People don't know about the other. People fear the other. We are being fed our information from sources that are not reliable. Fox News, to begin with. I will call it out as it is, whether you agree or not. Muslims have been living in America not for the last 30, 40, or 50 years. The slave trade brought Muslims into the United States of America. Malcolm X's colleagues, many people that he worked closely with, Martin Luther King's people, the people that Martin Luther King worked closely with happened to be Muslims, the likes of Malcolm X. Right? So we sometimes tend to forget some of these things. We want to, as a community, especially in this day and age, in this age of Islamophobia, want to blame the Muslims for everything. I don't have time to share statistics with you, but the reality is that Muslims who live in the United States of America, for the most part, are all peace-loving individuals. As Paisa had mentioned a few moments ago, we happen to be very, very American. Okay, I'm raising teenagers. The only thing on my kids' minds these days is football. And trust me, you know, and my faith is a part of my life. The Quran is a part of my life. I'm a third-generation Muslim imam. And if I have my way, my children will be fourth-generation Muslim imams. By the way, it's not mandatory in the Muslim faith, and your father or mother does not have to be a religious leader in order for you to be one. But I find satisfaction in what I do, and I would urge my children to do the same. My faith is one that is in question today. People of my faith, or people who are non-white, their loyalty happens to be in question today. Right? And you've been hearing this all along. Right? So I ask my fellow citizens here, and this is not a question I'm going to answer. Right? What is an American? Right? What is an American? And that begins by us understanding and acknowledging that we are different people that live in one community, in one society, and we have a faith that guides us. There's moral principles, there's religious principles that guide us. And trust me, for a moment, as I was hearing each of these individuals preach from their respective faiths, I could have easily closed my eyes, and I did for a few moments, and I thought I was in a mosque hearing an imam speak. Right? And many of you individuals who are of any other faith would have said exactly the same. So we talk about this nonviolence, we talk about coexistence. I urge all of you, and I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but I urge all of you and invite all of you to learn about the Muslim faith. There's not much I can do in the few minutes that I have with you, but a lot of times I'm being asked to condemn actions of violence that are done by individuals who claim to be of my faith or in the name of my faith. Yet that's very hypocritical to me, because I don't ask people of other faiths or people of a certain skin color to condemn on behalf of another individual that happens to be either of their faith or of their skin color. Yet I'm being asked to do the exact same. And I find that to be extremely hypocritical. Right? I can't speak for my wife, let alone speak for my congregation or speak for Muslims around the world. Right? So when I'm being asked to condemn, or when I'm being asked to speak against the actions of this group of individuals called ISIS halfway across the world, I don't go to all my white friends and my white neighbors and say, you need to start speaking up against Trump, otherwise we're not friends. No, I'm trying to get a point across to you. This is what makes my life so much more difficult. I am an American. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Islam happens to be my faith. I firmly believe and I firmly preach that I can be an American and I can be a Muslim. And there's no distinction between the two. My faith, America is the country that I live in. Islam is my faith, and I happen to be a Muslim. That makes me a better individual. And my faith continuously teaches me to live in peace, live in harmony, get to know my neighbors, all the universal values. But unfortunately, sometimes we tend to forget these things when we look at the world around us. I tell my congregation it's going to be a tough year. It's an election year. Okay? The rhetoric, if anything, is only going to get worse. And this only needs to grow. right? This only needs to go, and we really need to get to know each other. And so I call on all of you to hold hands with you, not right now, but hold hands with each other, and let's try to figure out and understand each other. Let's not doubt each other. Let's respect each other. And if you have any questions, I kid you not, there's a mosque in every town in the United States of America. We're not going anywhere, whether you like it or not. Okay? There's a mosque in every small town, every city in the United States of America. They are all Americans. They are all peace-loving citizens of their communities that are contributing in various different ways to their communities, that are trying to make their community and their society a better place. And if you doubt them or if you have any questions about them, rather than protest outside, I urge you to go and knock on the door of that mosque, and you will find someone there who will invite you in, and depending on their ethnicity, because Muslims are from all different parts of the world, they will serve you some kind of a coffee or some kind of a tea and some ethnic sweet. So if anything, you know, you will at least have something to eat, even if you don't agree with them. And so, in closing, I just want to remind everyone that we are all human beings. We all have a tradition, a faith tradition that guides us and that makes us better individuals. And rather than doubt each other, I think that it behooves every single one of us that we learn about each other and ask each other, what is it that we can do for you? Rather than, because the more you, I tell you, and I'm going to end with this, I promise. You know what I've been preaching about in my mosque these days? Anyone want to guess? Sorry? No. Football. Yeah, football. People know me. This is someone that knows me. I preach about football too. I pray for the 49ers in my sermons. No, I don't. You know what I preach to people these days? Let's get out and vote. Okay? Because this is a country, this is a beautiful country in which there is a democracy, and we believe that we can make a difference. And we're not asking for individuals to vote for Muslims. We are asking individuals to vote for people who happen to be upright, who happen to be just, who happen to be kind, who happen to be individuals that serve the entire community. Thank you very much.
So we are actually past the hour, but would love to stay if you are able to stay. And we'll take some Q&A after this. But we'll invite a few folks. And if I'm going to call your name out, please come by and sit in the front. That way we can get through this. Ideally a minute if possible, but we'll run through a few more conversation pieces. So I think I really appreciate all of you being here today and sharing your words of wisdom. I think it really resonated with the theme. And hopefully it's a step in the right direction. So bringing the community together and airing these thoughts out, trending in the right direction is how I would call it. At this point, I would like to, we had invited Rabbi Philip Ordener from the Ben David congregation in Saratoga. But he had something last minute come up, and so we have Andrea Harris from the Jewish Community Relations Council. And the reason we did not invite her to sit was because she said she was not planning to join us and have a seat, but she was planning to talk. So with that, I'm going to turn over the microphone to Andrea to say a few words.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So I'm with the Jewish Community Relations Council. I'm not a religious leader like these esteemed men, so I was more comfortable sitting. But the Jewish Community Relations Council represents all the Jewish organizations in the area. And part of the Jewish mandate is to repair the world. Probably most of us work on that. And so we work on things like interfaith and interracial relations, poverty, environment, and other things just to the Jewish community. And so my rabbi is in Los Gatos, and I'm in Cupertino, so we're really all neighbors here. And my rabbi sent a prayer today, which I think has been echoed by most of us up here, but I'd like to read it anyway. When God created us, He made us in His own image, in the likeness of the divine. Both male and female He created. He blessed them, and at the time of their creation, He called them human. There was therefore a single human being created, to teach you that to destroy a single human soul is equivalent to destroying an entire world. And to sustain a single human soul is equivalent to sustaining an entire world. And a single human being was created for the sake of people. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate you taking the time. And we'll run through, so here is the sequence of speakers. We'll invite Council Member Marilyn Levers from Morgan Hill to come down and come up here and speak to the audience. And after which we'll have Mohsina Ahmed. We'll have Samida Fahim, who's the founder and executive director of the American Muslims Voice, and also the Human Relations Commissioner for the County of Santa Clara. So we'll have her after Mohsina. And then we'll invite Mohammed Nadeem from the city of Santa Clara. He's a civil services commissioner, and he's also run for city council. And we'll also have Krishna Ramdas. Krishna Ramdas is here. Yes, he's still here. From the Art of Living. Does anyone else would like to speak? Please let me know. And then after all these speakers, we'll run through a Q&A, right? So you have your opportunity to ask our religious leaders any questions. Is that okay? Okay, we'll go a few minutes past, but this was the first one we are conducting, so we didn't quite know how it will all scope out. So we'll run this every year, the same weekend, the Martin Luther King weekend. So with that, I'm going to invite Council Member Marilyn from Morgan.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed religious leaders. I was fascinated by hearing each and every one of you speak. And we all have the common thread of peace. This is something we must all engage in. It comes from within. I practice it in my city, in my political position. And we must stop the intolerance of both prejudice against religion and race. And it starts with each one of you individually. And I think by having a forum such as this, with these great speakers, teaches us about different religions so we are knowledgeable and can be peaceful to one another. It's very important. I'm delighted to hear you're going to have it again next year, and I will invite more people from Morgan Hill to attend. I'm going to tell you just a little personal story about me. I travel to China quite often. In the last 5 months, I've been there 3 times, and on one of my trips, I had just 3 hours off on an afternoon. And I had a guide with me and an interpreter, and they said, well, what do you want to do, go shopping? I was like, no, I don't want to go shopping. I would like to go to a Buddhist temple. And they were shocked, literally shocked, that me, as a Christian woman from the United States of America, would be interested in going to a Buddhist temple. It was fascinating. I learned the 4 disciplines of Buddha. And I realized we're not different. We all want the same thing. We all want to be peaceful. We all want to be brothers and sisters. And it was a very moving experience for me. Listening today was also a very moving experience for me because I don't know a lot about these religions that we're talking about today. But I think my eyes are open wider, and I hope to bring this back to my community and spread the word that we must be friends. And we need to be educated. It's not the only answer to be educated, but through these forums like this, we learn more, and that is the educational key of it. So thank you for inviting me today. Thank you, Rishi, very much. And I wish you all peace as you go live your lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Marilyn. Mohsina, would you like to come up? And Mohsina, come on. Mohsina lives in Saratoga, and very happy she's able to join.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Mohsina Ahmed, and yes, I'm an American. Can you hear it?
No. There may be the...
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is better? Okay. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohsina Ahmed, and I'm an American Muslim. I stand here before you today to break my silence. Staying silent solves nothing. After 9/11, most of the American Muslims' lives has been changed. Day by day, we have seen the anti-Muslim sentiments are rising, and many Muslims has been targeted unjustly. My family is not the different. I will share a few of my experiences with you, which dehumanized, belittled, and made me feel like outsider. Not that long ago, I had gone through the full body scan, and then I was targeted by TSA. While she was patting my chest, she asked me whether I do have explosive underneath my bra. I felt lightheaded with humiliation and disgrace. My dignity was shattered into 1,000 pieces in that day in Chicago O'Hare Airport. That was not my only first and last experience that I had endured. My son was called a terrorist many times during his school life, and now also sometimes is called as a terrorist. He has been targeted by TSA for several times. The worst nightmare happened in Frankfurt Airport in Germany. We were standing on the line waiting to get our boarding passes when he was approached by a TSA and was taken away with all his belongings and told us that he will be back in 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes passed. There is no sign of my son. After several inquiries, we were informed by German police that the TSA has taken my son in an undisclosed location and then don't know when they will be back. I won't be able to tell you the emotional distress I had gone through that time. After 2 hours, he came back. He told us that one by one, 7 TSA agents questioned him, went through his belongings, including laptop, his cell phone. This is not random. This is racial profiling. It happens many times. And one day, my daughter came to me and told me, my 13-year-old daughter came to me and told me she doesn't want to be a Muslim anymore. I told her, what do you want to be? She told me, I want to be a Muslim mom. I want to be an American mom, sorry. I want to be an American. I assured her by saying that you are an American. You are born and growing up in this country. She was baffled by my words. She looked at me and said, are you sure, Mom? I thought a Muslim cannot be an American. My heart sank into despair. I'm sorry that I'm losing some of my composure. If an American child can feel that way, I wonder, as a country, where we're heading. I really would like to know where we're heading. I want my son, my kids, my next generation to feel this is their home. This is my home. This is their home. The English, that's the primary language they speak. They want to be the normal kids. Today, I stand here with unity with you and raise my voice against hate, vitriol, and demagogue. Thanks for coming. Thanks for every single one of you and making me feel much more American today than yesterday. Thank you.
Take a lot of courage for these. Big round of applause for Martina for accepting the possibility. Thank you, Martina. And we are all there to support Martina. So with that, I'm going to invite some.
Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon all of you. By now, I think probably everybody is emotional, or really sad stories and all that. You know, the saddest part is that's becoming the norm for Muslims. We almost expect it and accept it. And that's not what I want to talk about. Everybody here has talked about knowing each other, getting to know each other, doing more of this. The organization I founded in July 2003 has been doing that exactly same thing. Our members, American Muslim Boys Foundation members, open their homes. We invite you for iftar dinners, Eid brunches, just because, just come over, you know. So we found out the only thing we have going for all of us, is if we get to know each other. So that's why our motto is from fear to friendship. Everybody is afraid of each other. If you think my fellow Americans are afraid of Muslims, imagine how afraid Muslims are of fellow Americans. Because FBI comes in our mosque, we don't know who is our friend, who is an enemy. So we don't know anybody. So be patient with Muslims. If somebody opens the home, imagine how brave they are. Let everybody in. So I have some material on the table, back table there, that would tell you some things about Islam. And then I have some scarves. American Muslim Boys has gifted 30,000 scarves in the last 12 years. Why? Just to create goodwill. That's what our religion, our culture encourages us to do. Create goodwill in the world. And I also have information about American Muslim Boys, what we have done, what we do, our website, email, everything. Please check our website and my Facebook page, American Muslim Boys Facebook page, for events. We just finished our Eid festival. We had over 300 people come, and they learned how we celebrate Eid. We had a panel, so they learned how Jewish celebrate their, holidays, how Christians celebrate their Christmas, and we do that in December now. So everybody is in a holiday mood. Please forgive me, I'm going to ask you one thing. You may hate me, but I feel so strongly about that. I have to say it. I have heard tolerance a few times. Tolerance is bare minimum. We tolerate DMV lines, we tolerate strep throat, we tolerate, some of us sadly tolerate cancer. Human beings are supposed to be cherished, accepted, loved, supported, respected. Let's focus on that. All of us. And I do apologize for bringing it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Samina. And she does a fabulous Pakistan Independence Day celebration. So I was very lucky to be part of, and I hope to be back there again this year. And next up, we would like to invite Mohammed Nadeem, who's a very good friend of mine, and he's run for Santa Clara City Council. He's a visionary leader, which bringing some very strong, great ideas for the community. And I'm going to turn the microphone to Mohammed Nadeem.
Thank you. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. You want to come here? Okay, all right. Imam Tahir is really funny. Rishi, thank you for doing this. This is really, I think this is what we need more. I want to focus on two things. In 1967, Dr. Martin Luther King came to Stanford. And the theme of his talk was the other America. The other America. And he talked about two things. He said in one America, there is so much of affluence, people having jobs, education, housing, insurance, wonderful things are happening to them. In the other America, he talked about when people are struggling, African Americans and minorities, for basic, simple needs of their life. So what we see here in 2015, 2016, what Dr. King talked about in 1967, things have changed to an extent, we are back to the same square one. All the speakers talked about so many wonderful things here. And one of them mentioned about going to the summit. If you hear the speech of Dr. King in 1968, April 3rd, 1968, in Memphis, Tennessee, he talked about that I have reached to the mountaintop. And in that speech, he said, in New York, he was signing one of these books that he wrote. And there was a lady, as he was signing the autograph in the book, there was a lady that approached and asked him, "Are you Martin? Are you Martin?" So he looked at her and said, "Yes, I'm Martin." And then she stabbed him in his chest. She stabbed him. So he was rushed to the hospital. And the doctor said, if the tip of the blade had just gone, maybe just quarter of an inch, your arteries would have been cut, and then you would have drowned in your own blood. So 4 days after the surgery in the hospital, and he was able to recover, and he was reading the newspapers and the letters that he has received in support for his recovery and prayer and all of them. He said, there are a number of people, governors, kings, and senators, they wrote the letter. But I said, I don't remember any one of them. But I do remember one letter that I received. There was a little girl from New York, White Plains High School. She was a 9th grade. And she said, "Dear Dr. King, although it doesn't matter," this is what she wrote, "although it doesn't matter, but I want to tell you that when I read about your misfortune, I was really pained. And I'm hoping and praying for your recovery. And I'm happy to see that the doctors mentioned in the New York Times that if you had sneezed at the time when the lady stabbed you, you would have been dead." So in that mountaintop speech, he talks about it. I'm glad I did not sneeze. And he goes on to say that what wonderful things have happened in 1963, 64, 65, Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act. My point here is, I think as a community, Muslims, Hindus, and Jains, and Sikhs, and Jews, and Christians, we have an obligation, and we have an opportunity here, not just to stand together and go an extra mile. And I'm really happy to see Rashid is planning to do many more things. I think we should all support, hopefully we'll have more people. But the point is, in 2016, the fact that we are still talking about the other America, how one community is flourishing and the other community is really suffering, and we really have to change that. And that change can happen by doing what the panel has said. I just want to add one more thing. And that thing is, when we are in the masajid and the mosques and temples and churches and synagogues, we are happy. We are really happy that we are doing a lot of good work. But that's a cocoon. Because what we do in that community, in that mosque, in that temple, people outside have no idea. And the suspicion and the doubt continues. So the engagement, this is not the time to sit home and be quiet and not go to the mosque or temple and not go outside. This is a time actually to intensify our efforts. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nadeem. And we'll have a couple more folks. I think, Cover, I don't know if you would like to speak. And I would also like to invite Sabina Usman, who's the Government Relations Coordinator for Council on American Islam Relations. So, why don't you take the floor now? Oh. Yes, right. Okay. I think our Imam wants to go watch football. Yes. Prayer time. So, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And would somebody like to represent the Imam for any Q&A? Would one of you would like to? Sabina can do it. Okay, Sabina, you are on. Okay.
Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Rishi, for inviting me. I am representing the Art of Living Foundation. Some wise men said this: religion is like the banana peel. and spirituality is the banana inside. And most people are holding on to the peel without enjoying the banana. So the way we get out of this is understanding each other, connecting with each other. And most of the panelists mentioned this, we need to invite everybody to our homes, to our temples, churches, so we understand ourselves, each other, much better at a human level. Not just getting to know the principles, but as humans, we connect with each other. And Art of Living has been here for 35 years. And in New Delhi, it's organizing a large event called the World Culture Festival. What better way to understand each other than knowing each other's culture for what's best in each other's culture? So 3.5 million people will be assembling in March 11, 12 and 13 in New Delhi, showcasing the best of every culture. And that is the way we make a statement to the world that peace lovers in every culture are there to stand together to make a big difference to the whole world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. And Kauser, you're next.
Thank you so much, Councilman Kumar, for hosting such an event like this. I think just having all of us here today shows how much we want to have a unified community. And I think it starts with just getting to know each other and getting to engage in dialogue. But the work that I do, I work for CARE, which is the Council on American Islamic Relations, the government relations coordinator for them. And what our organization does is that we provide free legal services to people who are facing any discrimination, hate crimes, if they've been harassed by FBI, they call our office for that type of legal support. Unfortunately, we have been receiving more cases this year than I think, well, I know definitely last year we received more cases last year than any of our 21-year history. And this year is slated to probably have even more than that. In the past 2 months, we have had the highest number of cases ever, including mosques that have been desecrated or attacks against our community. As Rishi had said, that also our office was received a hate letter containing white powder that was made to be to look like anthrax. So and then we had an enrichment. A guy was building pipe bombs with the intent to hurt the Muslim community. So the community is living in fear. However, with events like this, with increased dialogue, I truly believe that we can strengthen our community and truly have the unity in community. But I would like to say that I think we need to take it a step further and not just have interfaith dialogue. I believe that we should have interfaith action. And I've spoken with several faith leaders to say that we need to come up with some type of events, not just talk to each other, but to act with each other and to make the world a better place. And, I have 2 young children that are in the back that are and I want a better world for them. And I think that what needs to happen is that we all need to engage in certain actions and engage in ways to improve our country. And through improving our country, I believe it'll have the ripple effect to improve the world. So thank you again for hosting this.
Thank you. Walter? Anyone else would like to speak? Anyone else? Going once, going twice?
I have a question.
Sure, okay. And then after this, we'll go through Q&A.
Thank you everyone for here. I'm Councillor Jamal. I work for the City of Santa Clara as an IT manager. I'm from Bangladesh and I'm a Muslim. As you can see what is going on all around, and I'm sitting in the dispatch center as a Muslim. And we have an event coming up, I would just say like February 8th, there's this big Super Bowl event, right? I mean, you all know that it's gonna be in the White Stadium. And this Muslim will be sitting in the city of Santa Clara dispatch, making sure that we are safe, we are secure. So trust is there. I would not say, when people ask you, like, if you are a Muslim and they say, go back, a lot of immigrants hear that, right? Go back to your country. What we do, we don't confront that people. We don't confront that person. And that's wrong. To me, that's wrong. I want to confront. I want to talk to that person. If somebody tells me, go back to your country, I want to ask him, which country are you talking about? Where are you from? What we do, we back up. That means we did something wrong, being here. That has to stop. That has to stop. As a Muslim, if you're not doing anything wrong, I'm not scared of anybody. Let it be CIA, let it be FBI, let it be police chief, nobody. If you are not wrong, if you have not done anything wrong, there's nothing to be afraid. I won't say a modern Muslim, that's not a nice word to you. I'm a liberal Muslim, okay? I go out with friends, even I go out on weekends. So this thing happened after the San Bernardino. What happened here? Some of our friends say it's not safe to go to masjid. Zahar, you're right here. I talk to you a lot of time. We go see. I started going to masjid. I'm not a 5-time prayer. You know, I started going to masjid showing that if we don't, then we are giving them the chance. That's what we want. That's what they want, right? They make us scared, and we don't go practice our religion. How would you feel as a Christian, as a Muslim, as a Buddhist, as a Hindu? We are one. If we just know this part, one, sun never asks, are you a Muslim or a Christian before they give you light. Moon doesn't ask, are you a Muslim or a Christian or Buddhist? I'm going to give you less light. And this guy is a Sikh, I'm going to give him more light. No, it doesn't. God created everybody equal. Let's coexist and let's act. Let's get to know each other. Speak up. Speak up. Do not fear. Only thing I'm saying, trust me, I meet with people, I sit in the board, I meet with different type of people, but this Muslim, what's going on here is very scared. Why are you scared? What have you done wrong? Nothing. Nothing. So please speak up, act, get used to your community, get involved, and get into this type of thing. It's very important what Nadeem said. Yes, we're doing a lot of things in masjid, and the other million people in the town doesn't know anything. I mean, how are we going to interact if we don't talk? I mean, right here, we have a lot of people are sitting, they don't know the next person sitting next to them. That's us. Please speak up, get used to it. And again, thanks a lot to Rishi Kumar for doing that. And in the future, I'll always help as much as I can. And at the same time, City of Santa Clara Police Chief have talked to me. If you hear anything like that you see anything, let us know. If you don't tell us, we can't help you. Please, I'm not a police personnel, I'm an IT person, but I sit with the city, I sit with the chief, and he is very supportive. If you're in Santa Clara, you see anything, come to us. My name is Counselor Jamal. I can at least connect you to the chief, and you can speak to him, okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it. Do we have Steve Klein here still? Steve Klein? He just got it, we missed it. Oh. Okay, so with that, any other speakers? I think there was a question. Maybe we can get to the Q&A aspect of it. Sabina, would you like to come up here? And yeah, I think you are designated by the Imam to answer the questions. So,
Am I the mom now?
yes, you are our designated Imam. Okay. So, who would like to start the questions? I think somebody had questions here.
Nasreen, you had a question.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
My name is Nasreen Rahim, and I teach at a community college, at Green Valley College, and I'm also the Bangladesh American Democratic Coalition president of that club. So I have, I'm talking from the background of my community college experience. So when I'm teaching students or presenting things there, so what happened was, after the San Bernardino incident, things changed. And it was so dramatic that when I was presenting, it was a presentation for a political science class, so I was presenting about India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all that background. And so automatically the religion came up, Muslim, Hinduism, Buddhism, and all, everything, and so I could sense the pulse of the students totally different, and so then they started asking questions about, how is it, how are you handling it in Bangladesh? And then when I was leaving, there was one guy, he just raised at the back of the, he said that you didn't answer my question. I didn't see him actually. And then then I went to him and I said, what is your question? He said that I'm an Albanian Muslim and I'm viewed in a different way right after the San Bernardino. He said, I'm not afraid for myself, but I'm afraid for my parents and my siblings when they go out. And at that moment, I felt that I'm a Muslim, I'm a Bangladeshi Muslim, okay? And my children are born here, and I'm thinking, oh my God, that's so true, my kids are all over, they don't live with me, they're all adults. So, and I really didn't have any answer for him. I said, just stay, be careful and all. And I immediately felt that, and I came back and I was like crying because that's my student, and I was not able to answer that. So I have I wanted to find out the answer from you guys that we have, in our community colleges, there are a lot of Muslim students, and there are Muslim students with hijab, and so we are going to start the new semester, and I'm also the staff development chair, the professional development chair, so I organize all the training and everything for faculty and staff. So I would like to begin, before school begins, I would like to give them some education to the employees of my college so that the Muslim students feel comfortable, feel that they're not like us and said, don't be afraid. So I just wanted to see if anybody could give me some input there.
So we just did this Eid festival on December 19th. We sent a press release, there was media, and I was very surprised to hear a question from one of the, I think, NBC reporter. She asked me, did I hire any security people? I said, for what? She said, you send this information to the whole world. You will just say, just come and have, lunch with us, sit down, have a cultural experience. No Muslims firsthand, so you can make decisions what you need to do. I said, no, it never crossed my mind. The thought never crossed my mind. She said, why not? Now this is my belief. I think this is Muslims' belief, but I have very strong faith in this, that the day is already destined how I'm going to die and when I'm going to die. And if that's true, then there is no fear. It just goes out the window, because I might be dying for whatever reasons, wherever. I would love to die doing what I love the most. Serve, feed, take care, and do all these things. So I think if we are afraid, that's the biggest problem all Americans are feeling right now. Everybody is afraid of each other. So yeah, security you can do. But look, America has FBI, CIA, Homeland Security. If one fool wants to do something, they can still get away with that. So we can only be safe if everybody is safe. So let's focus just on that. Assure people. We will be safe if all of us know each other, respect each other, support each other. Then everybody will be safe. That's the only thing I have.
Thank you. Any other questions? We are almost ready to wrap this up. I think Iman wanted to speak, Mosina?
She said no.
Okay. Any other Q&A? So, final words, I think it's an opportunity, but how Samina talked about, basically, this is a step in the right direction, but it's not it, right? It's a starting point for us to collaborate, right? The collaboration begins here, expressing our voices, having that common understanding, and taking that common understanding and building a better, greater America, right? I think because at the end of the day, we all have to collaborate with each other. When you go back, look at the Silicon Valley companies, right? We're not talking about religion there. It's like different races, different color, different religion. We are all kind of collaborating, working together to make the company better. And that's how America should work, in the best of cases. But that's where the differences, the accent, the color, the colors or the clothes that we are wearing all come into the way, right? But I think we have to go past it. We have to go past it and figure out that we all have common purposes, great intentions. Let's collaborate. Let's make something good happen. And let's keep expressing, let's keep collaborating, and let's keep in perspective all the different sentiments and thoughts that we expressed today. So once again, a big round of applause for our esteemed guests here for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time. And let's meet up again. We'd love to get your feedback of this event. So if you have any thoughts, ideas, please provide that, and hopefully we'll see you again next year. So thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.
We already see that. We already stood up being here.
Thank you. I think there will be
See if Samina is.
okay. Yeah, this gal here. Her experiences.
Oh, at the airport.
Assalamu alaikum. Those who are Muslims who wants to pray Maghrib prayer will pray here. Just for 5 minutes. If you want to join us, we can pray Maghrib prayer. Thank you.
Yes, and the ones who are not praying would love to get your help. Put the chairs away. So that would be fabulous. And I believe NTV USA is taking some interviews. So are you planning to take interviews or? Yes. So Dr. Nadeem, we should take your interview for sure. And Sabina, we should take your interview for NTV USA. And anyone else? Okay, so we have parallel interviews.
Rishi, thank you so much. We'll be here. I'll help you out. हम तो आपसे सीख रहे हैं इस बात में
And please do help taking the chairs, putting the chairs away. Really appreciate that.
There are
Yeah, we're good.
Hello? 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 Rita, can you hear me? Hello? Sure. Hello? Hey, what's up? The event just ended right now. We're still doing interviews right now. Hello? I mean, let's see how long. I'm thinking at least maybe like latest like 6:45. at this rate, because I mean, it just ended right now, and we're doing interviews right now.
This way. Yeah, it's easier.
I'm not 100% sure, and he's doing interviews right now. I can't talk to him now. I have my keys for my car. If he has his keys and everything, then he needs.
Okay. I know. He did so many So what is the payment that we This is the payment from the mobile payment. Okay. So if you integrate with your organization, you can get to help you collecting funds, mobilization, like donation, even a regular project. So right now, this is okay. Most of them are
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So it's on. Okay, I'll take a look. Yeah.
So he knows that's why they came.
Yeah, I know.
I'm in the loop.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you need?
Let's see what we can do.
On you right now, or can I meet the opera house? Do you have anything you need? Is there anything you need in the house?
I don't think so.
Is there anything you Everything good there, right?
So we on your
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
So he was really interested. And then for the Deepavali,
This room is much bigger. We can bring together, so this we can in fact
Sounds good. No, I don't. So we'll call. I'll call you. Bye-bye. Thank you. You can just send it to Saratoga.
No. You are
See. Yeah.
I have seen you in the picture.
Okay.